He catches her watching him from the other side of an emptiness that used to be full of his body. He sees her through shared space split by the flesh of wood, split into door and door frame, through the cleft in their vision, through which eyes kiss like air on the swollen push of a crowning head. From behind the swirl of her pearly nuggeted eyes, cat-gazing, above a propped plastic laundry basket, tilted onto a withered but fatted belly once bright with chemical ignition. From the dryer, down the hall, to Jenny's and Gabby's rooms, past his room, swish, swish, with the tufted, ruggy slippers kicking up sparkles of settled fibers, skin. She never not glances and insists on leaving him for last because she tells herself that the silence is too awkward now. As if it was any less awkward for him, the eldest, or would have been any less awkward if confronted before Jenny's own version of quietude. He never not keeps tally of the glances, exactly as he knows she does. She stores them all, because that's what mothers do. They fold the baby doll first, because Gabby will be looking for her for class. She always looks so pretty, that one. They fine-tune, mothers do, the central air because of rising energy costs. They get gender-neutral colors for matching bassinets, and tuck those bassinets into colorless basements when the bassinet users get too old to know the difference. They leave unripe grapes in dollar store wooden bowls on counters. Dark ones, pitless, only the best on sale. They love and ask for nothing, she thinks. Not thinks, but intuits, sifting through an inner tumble of avalanched emotions, inarticulate and undefined. The nibbles of gums on sore-nippled milk blisters, the nibbles of 3 a.m. shrieks that enfang sleep, the nibbles of baby teeth that cement in elementary apples. The nibbles of sloppy adolescent upper lips that curl their wire-frame hair prongs around her signature meatloaf on Thursday nights after Jenny's lacrosse practice. They remember, mothers, all the details, and remember and catalog and keep a proper account of things, and of who was given what, and when, and who didn't seem to show proper thanks, even though she wasn't asking for it, but it would have been nice, of course, and of who, therefore, owes what and how much, and of who can be guaranteed to deliver on the kind of debt that the nibbles and nipples incurred, as well as who can guarantee favors and the love she knows she will need in a husbandless future because Eddie's fat pushes out over his belt rather than settles low into the hips, which indicates that he is prone to having heart attacks, she read. Mothers track favors birthed in the goodwill of children to whom the future is owned, but not owed. No, not yet. Just as the past she owns does not guarantee the future she believes she is owed. Children to whom the childhood clamors for a bit of the acknowledgement that she knows she will not receive once the kids have kids of their own to ignore, and she is also discarded into the Rolodex of miscellaneous monthly expenditures, which includes regular cell phone upgrades and adult daycare. From whom not the slightest bit of said care can actually be predicted, but will be demanded because that's what mothers do. And that's what their children learn to do, too. Jake can glance all he wants, out past the split of the door and the door frame, from within his cake-boy flesh that rumples like his soggy bed sheets, like he has any idea what it's like to raise him. To know where his meated self came from, his fat ass and fungus skin, the back knee, his still hairless wrist twisting above oversized hands that trace drawings that resemble dreams lifted from canvases of hoped-for talent that he already knows he doesn't have, can't foster through proper education, and can never live up to. And money for, domain name? Sure. An advance on pay is what the real world would call it if he even had a job. For a portfolio of pre-cracked dreams. Portfolio. Such a lofty word for a gallery of cartoons. The notebooks, sketchpads, have to get the word right, very important to him, all arrayed next to him on the rumpled skin bed. He looks just as bloated and wriggly now as when he slopped out of my vagina, she thinks. No, not thinks, but intuits. Like a mass lodged somewhere behind her rib cage and pressing up, like fury tucked into a tumor's shape and implanted behind the flesh layer and left to boil, rot, and hate. Like an embryo tucked into her inner lining, hotting into froth, waiting to be expunged and let loose to wail and spit forth and damage her hearing and clitoral sensitivity forever. Eddie is, exactly the same. Making her into another one of his ventures, thinking only of himself, She was an early one, an experimental stage venture, one where he happened to stay on long enough to flood her with seeds like the tiny nibs in grapes, soaking her insides wet with what nobody wants and spits out because they get in the way of delight, thickening her blooded flesh and making her ready again as he stands removed behind glass while she delivers the afterbirth, and, crossing his arms under a half-smile, stands just as lopsided like the shoddily drawn crossbeam of a shoddy cross, ready to tilt over from boredom. And then he simply didn't bother to leave, and now he simply doesn't bother to try. Beyond semi-annual jam sessions and the occasional retreading of unfinished material, thinking nothing of the kids and their tangible, practical needs, of her, widowed and derelict in his fattened future, while he, now, scribbles tuneless lyrics in the margins of undergraduates as his skin putties and his stench magnifies and his flesh stinks of older and bitterer rot. Someone like Gabby. Gabby girl. All the others. Someone like... Yes, I made that one, she thinks. That one is from me. A sunflower amongst sewage. Yep, she's mine. Gabby girl. Some good. They had a giggle fit one time over wine. Had to have a first sip sometime. Like the way two childhood friends would carry on without having much to say at all. She's not going to come down too hard on the girl. A girl has to be a girl, just like a boy has to be a boy. That's how girls learn to be girls, and boys boys. And girls will be girls, and boys boys. Oh, she knows. Yes, she knows too well. Has to have room to explore and discover. She herself had her fair share, so she knows all about it, though it's not like it's something she could ever share with Gabby, not as her mother, no matter how much Gabby could benefit from the experience. That's what the baby doll is for. Time changes things, and what is best for children is not best for adults, and children need to experience things on their own and make their own mistakes. At that thought, she remembers something from St. Michael's when she was a teen, and without remembering the name, remembers it enough to rename it the Parents' Creed. Someone like Jenny. Jenny the unknowable. Jenny's star form. The Jenny who levitates and never alights, but like a Buddha, never talks without a smile. Beatific as an opal. So hard to think that such a difference came from Eddie's grunting collisions. The perfect body one, Gabby, and the perfect soul one, Jenny. Like they were split on impact with Earth on arrival from the before life, where they knew no difference and faced each other as one. Anima flowed dizygotic. One arrived too late and had no one with whom to share her time. One arrived too early and met the wrong twin. Halved and amniotic amber, each a third of one body, rent into three and nourished by the same base succulents, motherly enzymes, lactose, and white blood cells. So she, the bleeder of milk, was reduced to cruder parts, sow-like, and confined to the self-same dependence on her own parasites.